Okay, I'm not good at this whole video thing and recording, but with all this gang stalking stuff going on, it's just like most people say, it runs their life, and it's like literally running my life. And I don't want to cry on camera, but it's hard.
Alright, the title of this video is going to be, It's Not You, It's Them. I have been the victim of stalking for almost 10 years of my life. It started...
I have so much to talk about. I want to speak in chronological order. I want to stick to what's caused the most damage for me. In this video. This video is going to be about gang stalking and corruption.
It's with a heavy heart that I am in front of you now to make this video. Kind of my last words. It's really unfortunate that I have to make this video. You see, I am a victim of covert harassment and electronic harassment and gang stalking. I'm what's called a targeted individual.
say scientific instruments prove they are under attack.
The trajectories we've tracked, it's been coming from the neighbors. First, you're skeptical, but we've tracked our health, the temperature in the home. We've had blank that are supposed to reflect.
Welcome back, everyone. Smartphones, we
radar,
absolutely love them. They're right next to our side all the time. They know more secrets about us, right, Siri, than our best friends. Right, no, but on a serious note, they could actually be, you know, not just your best friend, but maybe a stalker's best friend.
That's creepy. Fox 26's John Donnelly joining us to show us why. I am not liking the thought of this at all.
Yeah, this is one of those stories that kind of creeped me out the more research I did. You know, they can do a lot of things. They can store tons of information. They're always by our sides. These are the kind of devices that 10 years ago, spies could only dream about having. Right now, someone is stalking Maggie McKeithen. They're monitoring her calls, her text messages, even her movements around town. No, they aren't lurking behind cars or in the bushes. They're using her cell phone to do it, courtesy of a hidden app on her phone. It's the latest trend in stalking technology.
Technology is a huge part of our everyday lives, so the more we, as just general everyday folks, use technology, absolutely stalkers have access to all of those same technological electronics that we do.
A quick Google search will show you there are a variety of apps like FlexiSpy that stalkers can install on their victims' smartphones if they can possess them for just a few minutes. And that is how Maggie is being stalked. You see, Maggie is actually...
Good evening. Who is tracking your cell phone? The same technology that allows 911 to find you in an emergency can lead a stalker to your precise location.
9 News anchor Brendan Keefe has tonight's I-Team investigation. Brendan?
Now, there are third-party apps that can be secretly installed by anyone with physical access to your phone, silently sending them copies of all your texts, logs of all your calls, and your exact location. But some wireless companies provide their own tracking services to whichever spouse is paying the bill. It turns out there's an app for that. If you thought this kind of satellite tracking was available only to the CIA, think again. The technology is already in your cell phone, and others can use it to pinpoint your...
Tonight, police call it bullying on steroids. We're talking about gang stalking, but it actually has nothing to do with the gangs that you first think of. Central Coast News reporter Candace Wynn learned more about the trend and how it's getting more dangerous because of the internet.
It makes me feel afraid.
Lawrence Gazzino claims his neighbors are gang stalking him because he plays loud music late at night and is outspoken. He said for the last year and a half, he's been systematically followed by a group of people. At one point, he said they climbed on his roof to harass him. Gazzino said gang stalking and bullying devastated his relationships with friends and, worst of all, family.
That's the worst part of it. If it was me, I would take action.
Santa Cruz Police Lieutenant Larry Richards said police are becoming more aware of gang stalking because of cyberbullying. But what is gang stalking?
Basically, the victims could be driving their car or talking on their phones or walking the streets when a group of people try to systematically terrorize them.
Richards said gang stalking is nothing new, but new technology is making it more common.
Gang stalking itself, they have elevated themselves to technology. So this is something that's been going on before the age of Facebook, Twitter, those other social websites. They just now have gone into those areas.
Gazzino said he's proof that the problem isn't just online and that it can hit too close to home, a home he plans on leaving because of gang stalking.
This small camera in her 11-year-old son's bedroom. So she took to the internet and started digging. What she found something called community or gang stalking. It's an eerie practice aimed at your psyche to make you almost feel like you're going crazy.
It's spooky, and my understanding is that if this is in fact what it is, it can go on for years, you know.
Only you're not. Tafara left her phone recording audio at her house. Listen, you can hear what sounds like people rummaging around. On one, you can hear what sounds like drilling.
So this whole
We've all had nasty neighbors, but an entire town? Think how annoyed you get when just one person honks at you. Now imagine all your neighbors driving by sitting on that horn 24/7. Are they tormenting one family, or did that family wear out its welcome? We want you to decide. Here's Paula Ferris.
Of all the homes in Hubbard, Ohio, it might be the last one you'd expect folks to fight over. But this vacant house on East Liberty Street is the hottest property since good old Nehemiah Hubbard founded the town 200 years ago. Oh, what a fuss over a little fixer-upper.
This all started in 2007 over a simple real estate deal, correct?
Right. It was the property next door here.
Meet Rick and Cindy Kurlich, longtime Hubbard residents. They say all they wanted was to buy the property next door. The only problem? It wasn't for sale. These folks, John and Marlene Clementi, had inherited half the house. The other half was tied up in court. But Rick Kurlich tried to buy it anyway, even though it had been in the Clementi family for generations.
I says, well, you're not getting my land. And I said, that's not right. It's my family since 1922. How could you do that?
The Clement family called me up and they told me to take my bid off the table. And if I didn't take my bid off the table, we'd be bitter enemies for life.
Rick never got the house, but he says he's still paying for what he did. As the town fire chief, Clementi had lots of friends, and suddenly Rick and Cindy say it seemed like every single one of them was driving by honking the horn. And it wasn't to say hello.
The Clement family conspired together to organize a horn-blowing campaign against us. That's really what this is all about.
On tonight's edition of The Insiders, we investigate the phenomenon of gang stalking. WTXL ABC 27's Paulo Salazar examines the events that led to one man taking a gun on FSU's campus and opening fire.
November 20th, 2014. It's a day many will never forget in Tallahassee and beyond. What started out as a night of studying in a college library turned to tragedy because of one man, Myron May. May believed he was a victim of gang stalking. Well, tonight you'll hear from May in his own chilling words, pleading for anyone to understand him as we examine just what is gang stalking.
Kind of my last words. It's really unfortunate that I have to make this video. You see, I am a victim of covert harassment and electronic harassment and gang stalking. I'm what's called a targeted individual.
On November 20th, 2014, 31-year-old Myron May walks into Strozier Library on the campus of Florida State University and opens fire. 3 people are injured. May tries to leave campus, and a shootout with police in front of the library ends violently. The medical examiner confirming May was shot 24 times by police.
For now, things seem to be back to normal on campus. Students have fallen back into their routines, but it was here not so long ago on a tragic night that has many wondering what could make a man snap and lose control.
What causes a seemingly well-liked guy to plan a mass murder? Is it mental illness, or as many suggests, being a victim of gang stalking?
The goal of gang stalking is literally to drive a targeted individual crazy.
If you search gang stalking on the internet, you can find thousands of people all over the world describing similar circumstances. Those who feel they are victims of gang stalking truly believe people are out to get them.
They employ isolation tactics. They basically try to convince your family, your friends, your neighbors, your coworkers that they should be keeping an eye on you.
In a 2-hour video diary that May released before the shooting, he explains how and when he started to believe he was a targeted individual.
A constant bout of noise that is never ending is designed to keep the targeted individual on edge.
Duncan. First question for you. What's negative about what you've done?
I've empowered the dark side by some of my work.
And what do you mean by that?
Technology is neutral.
Right.
It can be used for good or evil. I've worked on projects for the CIA, Justice Department, Department of Defense.
Is this the stuff, voices in the head and things like that?
Yes.
We've run into a few people that claim they got voices in their heads, they sleep inside tinfoil boxes, they do a lot of crazy things, it seems. But when they talk to us, they seem totally normal. They seem totally sane. Are these people crazy, or is the government doing this to them?
The government's doing this to them.
He's not even bothering to hide it.
They're called voice of God weapons.
So you know for a fact that these weapons that you worked on, they're being used domestically today?
Absolutely. You have to remember, the CIA has a long history of experimenting on our citizens, from LSD to...
Sure. Okay, we're talking here like going back to MK Ultra and all that in the 60s and 70s. But we were told all that stopped. Is that untrue?
Untrue. These programs continue under new names, new budgets. It's the ultimate weapon.
Are there citizens of this country that are being abused with this technology?
Worse than abused, that's a light word. They're being tortured.
So the targeted individuals aren't crazy after all. Okay, doctor, to deliver this, how do they get into your head? I've heard of these Gwen towers. They allegedly were used before, and now they claim that they're not used for anything.
They do match up with the properties and necessary capabilities. They easily could be broadcasting across the country messages to people and causing them extreme pain. That's part of the whole world domination strategy. Control the population from subconsciously to consciously.
And now we've got a motive. Controlling dissenters, controlling the world, controlling you and me. Who are the